Hello, and thank you for stopping by. I'm your host, Jerry-Royce, and welcome to Positive Power 21 Network, where you get your positive on. This is a worldwide podcast for growth, wealth, and success. Thank you.
Positive Power 21.org, Internet Radio.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you. Thank you for joining us tonight on PositivePower21.org. I'm your host, Jerry-Royce. When it's all positive, it's all power. PositivePower21.org. And I appreciate everybody joining us tonight live. And also, don't forget, you can listen to the show later on and share it with some friends and help promote this young lady that we're about to introduce on the show after I introduce my sponsors. And tonight's sponsors will be Jason Talley from way out there in Seattle, Washington. He has a book called The Path After the Storm. It's going for $15.26 on Amazon, and you can check it out on our website to make it easy. Just go to this week's podcast and click on and download Jason's book. Get your order in. And also we have Twilight from Rhonda M. Lawson. Awesome book. You have to read it. Have to share it. And she also released a book called Some Wounds Never Heal. And also don't forget about Agnes Levin. Her book talks about the effects of mental illness. Now this book is a fictional book, but she said a lot of it was based on her life. So check it out. That's really serious. I didn't know that you can't 100% heal from mental illness, so you just be in recovery. And her book is on Amazon. It's called I Saw You in His Eyes. And again, go out to PositivePower21.org, click this week's podcast, and you'll see our past guests and our up-and-coming guests' books on our website. And don't forget about this person. Oh, this is one of my favorite people. True Colors by K.R. Ray. And that book has sold over 25,000 copies. And it's only going for $10.82, so go ahead and down. I guess that's a Kindle price, or maybe it's a softback price. So go and check it out. Click and find out what's going on. All right. The young lady we have on our show tonight, her name is Savannah Jackson, or Savannah J, as she is affectionately called, has been surrounded by diverse culture and the arts her entire life. She was born into a family of artists and raised in Wilmington, Delaware, in an Italian neighborhood called Little Italy. Well, we have a Little Italy in Baltimore. Unconditional love and support of her family and influence of her environment foster her love and talents in the arts. And she's our guest author on Positive Power 21. And welcome to the show, Savannah. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great, and thank you for having me.
Oh, my pleasure. I was glad we were able to communicate on Google+. I think you may have been the first person I made contact with, along with B. Swingin' Webster.
I appreciate that. I appreciate you reaching out to me.
Yeah, we out there doing that social media thing. And, it's funny because I've been meeting some really down-to-earth people out there. It's just funny how strangers, you have so much in common. I guess because we all sit on that same platform, the world of books, that we have that common interest. You're a writer. I'm a podcaster and a graphic designer, so it's like it all comes together, on common ground.
That's true. I love it. I love reaching out and meeting new people, and then some connecting face-to-face. I think it's a great thing.
That's it. All right. Now, what's that voice? I don't have a clue. Do you hear something beeping?
No, not on my end.
I think somebody trying. Yeah, that was one of those telemarketers.
Oh, okay.
All right, so we're okay now. I got that going. All right, now I know how to work all this stuff, so I don't have nobody here helping me tonight. So anyway, before we get going, we want you to go ahead for the first quarter hour. We like to talk about you, how you got into writing and what were you like in high school, and if you went to college, tell about your experience as a writer. So go ahead and tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, I have been an artist, I would say, my entire life. I started singing when I was about 3 years old. And I think I was 6 when I did my first solo at church. My mother was a great influence in my life when it came to my talents. And also my oldest sister, who is now passed away, was also an artist. And she and her husband, who's still living, were also very influential. And I was exposed to art museums and the opera and plays and things like that at a very early age. And I always felt, I've heard other artists say this also, I always felt a little different, like I was a little different than everyone else. But now that I'm older, I realize that it's because I'm a creative. When I was in middle school, well, we called it junior high back then, I joined the choir, and our choir director, Miss Anita Short, took a big interest in me and taught me a lot. So she started developing my talent in music. When I went to high school, I was not into sports like most young people. I was into theater and dance and singing, and the writing hadn't really started yet, but that part of my creative spirit was alive.
Yeah.
And I had a great music teacher, Miss Shorten, and there was another music teacher, Mr. Young, and they would take me different places to sing. I had the opportunity at age 17. My mother put me on a plane and sent me to Europe for 2 weeks. We toured 5 countries with a choir, and that is a blessing, and that's an experience that I will never forget. I got to be the honor soloist, so I got to sing Summertime in 5 different countries. And after that, I came home and, graduated, and I attended the Peabody Conservatory at Johns Hopkins for about 2 years.
Good.
And conservatory is a different ball of wax. And even though I was talented, I was not prepared. I didn't have the knowledge background, so I wasn't really prepared when I got there. And so it was a little bit tough, so I came out and changed directions and went into the medical field. But I never really let go of the creative. And going back to childhood, I remember as a little girl acting out plays with my toys when no one was around. And, I think about all those things now, and that was just the writer in me. That was just the writer in me coming out. And I started writing actually as an adult. And it was just, I just wanted to create a story. I was going through a tough time in my life, wanted to create a story, wanted to create Prince Charming. And a friend of mine read it and told me that I should publish it. And I did. And my first book is called Toward the Light. It's not on the market. It needs to be redone. But that was my first book. And I remember when I got the package and I held it in my hand for the first time, I think I shed a few tears. And I really enjoy writing. I really enjoy creating stories. I have a blog, and on my blog it's called, I'm doing a story right now called The Anatomy of a Stalker, and that's from a different book. But I'm doing that. I do a lot of writing on Facebook, and not too much. You can't do too much on Twitter. But I do reach out to other authors on Twitter, and I think I even have a few things on Google if people want to go and read it.
Sound good. Now, the book that you released last spring, what was the title of that book?
That is Raising Tristan.
Raising Tristan. And that's not the suspense novel, is it?
No, the suspense novel is The Prey. Raising Tristan is my novel about a single father. And I wrote Raising Tristan. I used to do asthma education in Richmond City, and I worked with the different Head Starts, And well, actually, I was in Chesterfield and Henrico County as well. For people who don't know this area, they're the counties that surround Richmond City. And there was a young man in one of the Head Start parents that I was really, really impressed with. He was a single father. I think at the time his son may have been 5. He came to every meeting. He was active in Head Start. He had his own lawn company. And I was really impressed with how this young man was all about his son. And he was single. Wow. And we hear a lot. I was raised by a single mom because my father passed away when I was very young.
Okay,
so I was raised by a single mother. But I know that there are single fathers out there, and we don't hear a lot about them.
It's true.
I mean, if you think about the gentlemen in sports, they'll get up and they'll thank their mom because a lot of them are raised by single moms. But I don't think I've ever heard one thank their dad.
I know you sure don't hear that. And a lot of those guys do have fathers in their lives. I guess because dad was probably one that was running to the practice and he already appreciated just having tickets to the game, free tickets to the game. And mom didn't make the trip.
It could be. And so I thought about that and I said, you know, I want to write a story about a gentleman who's a single dad. He's in a relationship. It's purely for companionship. He doesn't love her. She doesn't love him. He just wants some company. And in the beginning of their relationship, she makes it clear that she does not want children. And she gets pregnant, and he convinces her to have the baby, and it's a little boy. And 24 hours after the baby is born, she checks herself out of the hospital against medical advice and disappears. And so when he comes to visit her the next day after the baby's born, he goes to her room, and the room is empty and clean and bed's made up. And he goes to the desk and he asks, where is she? And the young lady at the desk calls her nurse manager out, and the nurse manager tells him that the baby's mother has disappeared. And so he takes this little baby home and raises him all by himself. Well, he has some help from his family.
Yeah.
But he does. He's not married when the child is an infant. And he does the whole thing. And I just wanted to give honor to single dads out there.
Yes, absolutely, absolutely. I actually had reached out to some guys, and one guy did step up. He was out there in, I think, over in Europe, over in the UK. So we hope to get that show sometime probably end of this month with him. Wow, that is quite a story. Now, you don't hear a lot of the guys that are doing this sort of thing. They just keep it quiet. They just do what they got to do. Now, I was working with a guy that was raising his son. He has a girlfriend now because they just had a baby together, and they bought a home together. But I was really impressed with him because he was really young, really good job, smart guy, government man, had his college degree, had just left a good job to take the government job, and very impressive guy. He was really into physical fitness and everything, and I spoke with him last week, and he said he was really involved with his son playing baseball now, so he's really excited about that. I think his son does basketball, and I think he's only like 5 or 6.
Wow.
Yes. Well, so I applaud you for putting this out there. So how are you doing? Are you still pushing it? Are you still going to conferences and book shows and those kind of things?
I am. As a matter of fact, I am in the process of putting together some different activities and like a tour for myself for the summer. I don't do very much in the winter just because I was born and raised in the North. I know I can go somewhere and get stuck. And I have the kind of job that I have to show up. So from about the latest in the year I'll do something is October. So from October to about March, I kind of just sit tight. But beginning in May, I'm going to be out and about. I'm going to do some things in some of the libraries here in this area. I'm supposed to be doing an event in Manassas, Virginia. And there is one coming up in the fall in Maryland that I'd like to do. I think I work with 3 other authors. I think we have something in August. We are interested in doing the Baltimore Book Fair. So in the spring and summer months, I do get out and about. I love to meet people. Yeah, I'm quite the extrovert.
That's right. That's right. And we may get a chance to meet because I'm hoping to be there. Well, I have to figure out when my wife said our vacation. I think our vacation's in August. So the festival's in when? September?
September.
Good. Okay, I'll be there. I will be there.
Oh, good.
Yeah, that's going to be exciting because pretty much everybody is going to be coming to the area for that festival. So I'm going to have to get those dates straight because I'm supposed to be putting a calendar events. I promised the publisher I was going to be the go-to guy for the calendar events for the book festival that's on the East Coast. I haven't started that project yet.
Oh,
but
you better get busy.
Yeah, but I mean, we have so much going on right now, but I'm glad that we're able to do this with you. Now, you have quite a few books to your name. Tell us about. So you said "Toward the Light" was your first one. Then you had a sequel. The sequel was called what's that? Prodigal
Son.
Okay, and then Behind Closed Doors. Now that sounds interesting. Behind Closed Doors. What's the deal with Behind Closed Doors?
Well, Behind Closed Doors came to be because one day I was looking out my bedroom window. I really like where I live. I love my neighborhood, and I have great neighbors. And so I was looking out the window and just looking around, and I started thinking. I said, looking at everybody's house, it looks like everything is peaceful and everybody's getting along. But I wonder what really goes on behind closed doors.
Oh, do we really want to know?
It just probably not. and so just with that thought, I started writing this story of Behind Closed Doors, and it's about two different couples and the problems and the issues that they go through and how they find a way to resolve them. One couple is married, one couple is engaged, and they all know each other. They're all friends, and of course, there's a little drama up in there. Got to have a little drama.
That's right. So they double date. So is that what they do? They double date all the time?
No, they don't. But they. I like to entertain, so my characters always throw parties. And so.
You live around here. I'll be right at them. Wow.
I do. I love to entertain. And so there are different parties and barbecues that go on, and they show up because they're friends. And, of course, I have a really strong support system of not just girlfriends, but my brother and my sister were very close. And then I have some cousins that I'm really, really close to. And
that's great.
Yeah, they have helped me through a lot of rough places. And so my characters in my books, especially the women, they always have a strong bond with someone. There's always a girlfriend out there that they reach out to each other. So in Behind Closed Doors, the four couples share their issues. Like the girls, girlfriends talk to the girlfriends. The guys, they talk to each other over beer and things like that, and try to help each other through these problems.
Well, now I have a question on that subject. Now, is the married guy, is he telling the guy that's engaged, don't do it, man? Is he saying that through the book, or he just giving him advice, what to watch out for, warnings?
Well, actually the married guy is a mess. And he is so full of himself that he really can't give anyone advice. So the engaged guy is trying to help him.
Oh, other way around. That is interesting. That is interesting because it's funny because I always joke around with guys when they say they're about to get married. I said, don't do it. Because I have a buddy, he used to do that all the time. He'd say, don't do it. Even though most of us, our wives are like our best friends anyway. They don't even want to really put up with us. But I think that is so funny, though, because those guys are walking around, their eyes are like wide open, like they just saw like a deer in headlights. And they kind of know, they hearing from other men that are married that things going to change, and they trying to figure out, well, what's going to change. So you'll find out. That is fun. That sounds like a fun book. And that's still available? Is it still available?
Well, Toward the Light, The Prodigal Son, and Behind Closed Doors are actually being redone. They're being re-edited and redone and cleaned up. They needed to be cleaned up. So they'll be back on the market soon.
All right, and they'll be available on your website. Her website is the Savannah J Publications. .com, and she released her Well, yeah, the Raising Tristan book was released last year, and that's still available?
Yes.
Okay,
yes.
and that's an ebook and a softback?
Yes.
All right. All right, now tell us about the suspense thriller. Now, you have a lot of books to your name. That's interesting. I did not know that. I thought you was pushing one book. Now, suspense thriller, The Prey. I like that. I remember that being a movie, title of a movie before. So what's the deal with The Prey? Is that available right now, or that's a current project you're working on?
No. It's available, and I'm actually developing a sequel to The Prey. But The Prey is about a gentleman by the name of Carter Woodson, and Carter and his brother Matthew have their own business. They are investment brokers, and they write investment packages for large firms.
Okay.
And so they held a meeting with a gentleman by the name of Mr. Fine, who is a jeweler, and he wants some really great stock portfolios, et cetera, for his employees. And so Matthew and Carter put together great packages, and then Mr. Fine, maybe about 3 or 4 months later, decides to launch a new line of jewelry, and he invites Matthew and Carter to this launch party.
Okay.
Well, Carter has met a young lady by the name of Taryn, and he takes her along, and Matthew already has a young lady, and that's Bree, and so the four of them go together to this launch party, and it's held on this yacht on the Hudson. So it's real. I told you I like to entertain, so of course it's really fancy. And so Carter goes to the bar to get a drink for him and for his girlfriend, and there's a woman at the bar, and she literally bumps into him and starts a conversation. And he's not interested. He just came to get something to drink. But she's very pushy. And something in the back of his mind tells him to run. And so he goes back with his family, with his brother and the two young ladies, and he's kind of mumbling about it. And his brother's like, look, we came to have fun. Don't let her get to you. And he says, okay. So they start dancing, and they're having a good time. Well, the young lady that he bumped into is Asha, and Asha is not right in the head. And Asha decides that Carter is the man for her. So she packs up everything. She leaves New York. She moves from Manhattan, and she moves to Richmond so that she can be close to Carter, and she stalks him.
God,
relentlessly.
So one of those. Oh, wow. So she's a nightmare of a stalker. Goodness gracious. Now, so is no monsters in the Prey?
Asha is a monster in herself.
So she's the monster. Okay, that's interesting.
He becomes her prey.
Yeah, because listen, I remember that being a movie, and I thought it was about a monster that was in that movie, and
it could have been. I don't know. I don't think I saw that.
Yeah, I don't think I really got into it myself. But I thought I remember it being some kind of monster, but. This is a really good storyline because I haven't heard this one before. I've been doing this. Well, I just came back in December, but when I was doing this back in 06 and 09, I don't remember anybody talking about a male being stalked by a female, and it happens all the time. You know, that's matter of fact, that's some of my friends and myself. That's our greatest fear. You know, if you ever decide, one time you're just going to step out, when you're a girl, and, the young thing, you meet at the bar or something or whatever, or at work. It seems quite normal. But, women get emotional. They fall in love and get attached. And next thing you say, hey, I got to go home. I got to go. And it's like, no, you ain't going nowhere. You with me. That can turn ugly. That can really turn ugly.
It can. Wow. Well, remember the movie Fatal Attraction? I think that's what happened with him.
Yeah, that's right.
That's Stone right. And I can't think of the male actor, but
Sharon, Close. It was Close. Her last name was Close.
Was it Glenn Close?
Glenn Close, yep. She had the curly hair going on. Yeah, that was crazy, And also, there was another movie that kind of tackled that same subject. Remember Michael Douglas in the movie with what's her name? Had the dark hair, was married to Ashton Kutcher. Demi Moore. Yeah, Demi Moore was in a similar movie. She was executive, and she was messing around with him. I think they knew each other from way back, and he was trying to stop it. And next thing you know, she flipped the switch and said that it was sexual harassment, and he had to go get a lawyer.
Wow. I haven't seen that one. I have to check that out.
Yeah, that's pretty old too.
Beyonce and Idris did one as well. I don't remember the name of it.
Yeah, I think it was called Temptations.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Wow. So your book could easily become a screenplay.
I would love for it to.
Well, you have so much talent, so you don't have the time to write it right now.
The screenplay, I would need some help because I think a screenplay is written differently than a novel.
Yes,
you have to shorten the story, I understand. I would love for someone to help me do it. I really would.
Well, they have classes. They have classes for it in the colleges, so it might be a good project for you. You know,
that's true.
Yeah. Let's talk a little bit about your company now. Now, what is the Savannah J Publications about? How you got started with that?
Well, when I first decided to do Toward the Light, when I published Toward the Light, I published through one of the print-on-demand companies. Mm-hmm. And then, because I just wanted to get my book out, like a lot of freshman authors do. And then after that, I realized that when I sold a book, they were keeping all of the money. Like, let's say the book sold for $15. They would get like $13.50, and I would get what was left. And so I said, something is wrong with this picture. Mm-hmm. And so I decided to do the same thing a lot of indie authors have done, is to establish my own publishing company. I got an LLC so that I could set it up right. And I have an employee identification number, so it is registered. And I have an editor. I have a gentleman that does my graphics. I have a printer, and I have a proofreader. I have published one other author, but I realize in doing that it takes a lot of time.
Yeah,
and it's just me, because it's just my book. So it took a lot of my time to help him get his book out. And so I decided that I don't want to publish, but I will do consulting.
Okay.
And
what happened? So what happened with him? Let's go back to him a little bit. So, I mean, what was so demanding about that project working with him?
Well, because he was a freshman author, I pretty much had to hold his hand through the entire thing. Like and rightly so. He had a lot of questions, and so I had to make myself available to answer the questions. He lives in my hometown, so a few times I had to actually make some trips up there to help him, and it just took away from my writing. And then at the same time, I was hosting the Literary Festival, which is kind of on hold. For 4 years, I did the Annual Authors Literary Festival here in Richmond. And so it would take an entire year to plan. So I had that going on. I had trying to help this gentleman, I won't say trying, assisting this gentleman to publish his book under my label. And I realized that my life was suffering. My life as a writer was suffering, and my life as a person was suffering. And that wasn't good. So
I'm glad you're sharing this, because a lot of people think it's pretty easy. Because I met someone in Baltimore that started her own publishing company only because everybody has been going to her for editing services. Mm-hmm. So now she's actually signed them to deals, and I think she picked up 2-3 authors already, but I think they all in like an anthology type deal with her right now, but they're trying to release their own. Now, the challenge is he was nervous, he was scared. I mean, he was like he needed nurturing, or he just was blind to the fact what the industry is like.
Well, he was excited because this was a dream come true for him, and it's a dream come true for any writer to publish for the first time. Actually, it's a dream come true when you publish for the 10th time. So because this was his first book and he really needed a lot of guidance, we spent a lot of time on the phone. When we weren't on the phone, we were emailing. He would send me what he had written so far, and I would read through that and help him to try to edit it as best I could. It just took a lot of time.
So
and
let me
he
ask
was
you this.
nervous.
So what happened? I mean, you didn't put a team together? I mean, like an editor, couple editors, to handle the content, everything?
No, because he because my company is my company, and I don't have the big budget like Simon and Schuster, I could not give him in advance. So what he was doing is I was connecting him with he wanted to use print under my imprint, Savannah J Publications, with my logo. Mm-hmm. Because my idea was, well, let me help you do what I've done and launch your own company, and he didn't want that. He wanted my label. But what I did was connect him to the resources so that so when he found an editor, he paid the editor. And I sent him to my printer. He paid my printer. My graphics guy did his book cover, so he paid my graphics guy. My photographer did his cover photo, so he paid my photographer. Mm-hmm. And I helped him with his ISBN. I'm sorry.
Right, so you do have a team that worked with him. It just you had to take on the bulk of it yourself.
Right.
Which was the editing.
I did. I was like more like the coordinator.
Yeah.
But it takes a lot of time. It's a lot more to it than people think. And then what I had to help them understand, the easy part is publishing the book. Once the book is in your hand, then the work begins.
That's right. Because you want to put it in somebody else's hand for some green stuff. Wow. So did you learn a lesson from that?
I did. I learned that I can be a consultant. And you can call me and we can talk, and I can still connect if they want connections. I mean, I know I have a few other friends who have their own publishing company and would be more than happy to help.
Pick them up.
But I'm not ready at this point in my career to publish anyone else.
So how's the consulting going? I mean, do you charge them, like every time they call and you talk to them, then you bill them for that hour? Does it work like that?
No, I just ask for a one-time fee. I did have a gentleman reach out to me, and for a while people would come to me and ask me, and I would just tell them no. And then this gentleman reached out to me, and I said, maybe there's some wisdom in me helping someone else, because I have the ministry of helps anyway in my life, and I don't mind helping. I just didn't want to get caught up like I had gotten caught up before. So I did tell him that if he wanted to, I would be more than happy to assist him and anyone else out there. And so I have a little contract that I put together, and I just ask for a one-time fee, and I work with them until it's done.
All right. Well, I'm going to have to put you on the list as a publishing consultant then.
Okay,
if someone
that'd be
come to
great.
me and say, hey, do you know somebody that can help me get started in publishing my book? And then you're the one. All right.
Yeah, that'd be great. I'd love to.
Yeah, absolutely. So you're the author of a suspense thriller about a young man raising his son, a couple behind closed doors, and that's pretty good. That's pretty intriguing right there. Some people are going to want to check that out. They want to know what's going on behind the closed doors. So you get the nosy people, the impulse buyers to get that book, and then you talking about redoing Toward the Light and the sequel, The Prodigal Son. So you're a busy bee, very busy.
I am.
Very busy. And you still have the festival going on. Is that still happening?
Well, the festival is being revamped. I'm going to bring it back, but I want to do it a little bit differently. A few years ago, a friend of mine gave me an idea, and I couldn't figure out how to put it together. She said, why don't you have the festival and lose the tables? And I said to myself, well, where are we going to put our books? But years later, I'm sorry, say again.
I said that's a good question. So what was the answer?
Well, what I figured out is there would still be tables. I'd have maybe 3 tables, and I've had up to 35 authors before, which is that's a lot to coordinate and organize. So keep it at 10. 10 is a good number, and I want to have sales tables and actually get people who are interested in just working sales, and they'll sit at the table and sell the books for the authors, and just invite people. And it'll be, like I said, I like to entertain. It'll be like a meet and greet. So it'll be like a party, and people can come out and meet the authors, and the authors won't have to sit at their tables. They can get up and mingle, because I heard, I don't know if it was Dan Brown or Stephen King, one of those big authors like that, said the worst place for an author to be is behind their table.
Yes. But you see all of them do that. I mean, especially if you watch some of the release of CDs, like music, like Beyonce, when she released her DVD in a bookstore. People behind the door, on the other side of the table, and some people want to hug or shake her hand. It's kind of difficult. I guess sometimes the table is good when you need your own space. So sometimes you need that. Now, so what happens? So you have the high pub tables, and people, they have drinks, and the author wear name tags. Is that how that works?
Yes, that's my vision. Little wine, little cheese, fun. Some fruit, light hors d'oeuvres, some jazz, and it'll be a meet and greet.
That sounds nice. So what happens is once the authors are going around chit-chatting, because they're very personable people, and they connect with someone, and they talking about their project, or the person say, hey, I want to be a writer, and next thing they say, what's the name of your book? So they can just say, okay, I'm going to support you, and they go get his book, and so he doesn't have no real sour feelings because, his job is to get to know people and connect, and at the same time, he find out where the sales are later on that day and say, hey, I was great, right? Yeah.
Exactly.
I like that. Now, you said it's going to be in Richmond? You giving it in Richmond?
I'm not sure if I'm going to do it in Richmond again. In a way, I'm thinking about bringing it to my hometown, to Wilmington. I've actually thought about Baltimore because my oldest sister, the one that passed away, lived in Baltimore, spent a lot of time there, and I love the city, or D.C., or maybe Philadelphia. I haven't decided yet. Because originally when I thought about the Annual Authors Literary Festival, my goal was to take it on the road and have it in a different city every year.
That's a good idea. Yeah, well, you have to keep me informed about that, help you promote that. Because that's one of the things that, we're really working hard is to try to connect with a lot of the Baltimore, Washington authors, which we're doing a great job right now. We reached out to Intrigue Publishing, and they're doing a great job. They have a big festival called C3 coming up in, I believe, September or October. So, yeah, definitely check out calendar events for that next week when I have all that up. And then they give you an opportunity to see what's already going on. And you can connect with those guys, see if you can do some smaller venues. That would be great.
Okay,
wow.
I will.
Yeah, wow. Yes, that is really wonderful. I love the ideas that come out of these programs. People are just so creative, and I guess that's just your nature. That's your thing, right?
It is. It is.
Good. All right. Well, we're coming up to the end of the show. Is there anything you'd like to say to any freshman author, someone that was in the same shoes that the guy that you published, that you handed a contract to? Any advice you'd like to give?
I would say if you're gonna, first of all, pursue the dream. Don't let anybody tell you that you can't do it. And because there are a lot of people who their vision is you get a job and you go to work, and us creatives are a little bit different. So don't let anybody steal your dream. And once you get your book out there, get some thick skin because you're going to need it. Not everybody's going to like your book, but that's okay. Work with the people who do. When you get reviews, not all your reviews are going to be positive, but that's okay too. Learn from it and keep it moving.
That's right. And I wanted to ask you this before I let you go, Savannah. What are some of the most positive approaches that you have when it came to marketing your books? What worked for you? I know a lot of people are really out there pushing social media, virtual release parties, something new. What are you doing that you like that really works for you?
I like face-to-face. I like going to book fairs and just meeting people and talking with them. I have a mentor, and what he taught me is to develop my elevator speech. And he said I should be able to talk with someone, tell them about my book, and make it intriguing in as much time as it would take for an elevator to go from one floor to the next. So really it's about a minute. And that works for me, just talking to people, because, I'm going to do some blog tours. That's in my future, too. I've already reached out to a group that does blog tours. I want to do that, but I don't ever want to be in a position where I can't go out and meet people, because that's what I enjoy.
Now, you mentioned blog. You said blog tours?
Yes, they're blog, yes.
So how
there
does
are
that work?
different organizations that host them, and what the author does is we send them our information, send information about our books, about ourselves, and then they have different bloggers that they work with, and the bloggers host us, and it's posted on their blog site. They ask us questions, so it's interview questions are there, and then information on how to purchase our books is there, and how to get in touch with us also.
Good. And how about book clubs? Are they pretty popular in your area? The book clubs?
We have book clubs in Richmond, but I was in a book club myself, so this is going to sound kind of strange, but we don't hear a lot from them in this area.
Yeah.
Usually it's the book clubs in other areas that the authors tend to work with more.
Okay, because that is strange. No, go ahead. I'm sorry.
I was going to say I haven't done too much with book clubs. My activity is more going to book fairs or book short or doing a private signing. I've done those as well.
Yeah, because I was talking to my brother about his book club, and they sound like they kind of in their own world. You know, they pick the books they want. Unless someone say, hey, you know, I was at a book show, and, you know, mention your name, and because he was telling me how the books have to already be available at the library that they use for their meetings or whatever. So that's a lot. Because I had asked him, you know, would he be interested in having you know, a series of authors from one publishing house come out and speak to his book club. I thought this sounded like fun because they've been together for 3-4 years, and it sounds like it's getting boring. And you know, I was just wondering, you know, how would you take it to another level? And that to me, that would be inviting an author. You know, you read his book or her book, have him come out, you know, and break bread with you or something. Wow. Okay.
Our book club, we used to host authors, and we tried to host authors who were new and up and coming to support them. And it was a lot of fun when they would come out and meet. And you've got some book clubs that they mostly go after the established authors. But to those book clubs, I would say you're really missing out because there are a lot of books out there. Now, I have to be honest, there's a lot of people out there who are just putting words on paper and sending it to a printer and calling it a book. And it is not well done. But there are a lot of authors like myself who take pride in our work and really work hard at it.
That's right. We appreciate having you on here. I had a really good feeling about you on Google+.
Thank you.
And I'm glad that, you know, you reached out and said, hey, you know, let's do this. And I'm glad you accepted the invite.
Thank you.
And she's the author. That's Savannah J. Jackson. I'm sorry, Savannah Jackson. She is the author of Raising Tristan. Her suspense thriller is coming out soon. She's working on all her other projects, which we're really excited about. And we hope you be part of the Positive Power 21 family for a very, very, very long time.
Thank you. I will. Thank you so much.
All right, we appreciate all your guests out there, and I know we didn't get a chance to talk to anybody. Let's see if we can get somebody. You want to try somebody? So maybe somebody would like to say something. All right, if anybody interested, just hit 6 on your keypad, and I'll see if I can move you over. Okay, I think we got somebody. No, is that right? I don't see anything happening. Well, I guess they were just happy just being listeners. So, nothing happened yet. So nobody hit 6 on their keypad yet. So I guess they were happy just being a listener. But we're glad you guys joined us, and please support our other authors on the website. Also, don't forget that we are powered by Amazon.com now. True Colors, 25,000 copies sold. That is crazy since August. Check that out. Good book. And also, we have a couple of new guys coming on the show in a few days. We got Gotta Let It Go, a young man going to be on the show this week. He's out in the California area. That's going to be very interesting. And don't forget about Austin Camacho of Intrigue Publishing. He has Russian Roulette that's out there being pushed. So, and we're going to have my man Vincent Alexander on the show as soon as he confirms. He has a book called Black Secret, and he's been around for a long time also. And also I'd like to give a shout-out to CeCe Solomon, her book, The Mission. All right? And all those are sold on positivepower21.org. Just go in there and take a peek. and go ahead and try them out and give the authors an opportunity. Just like Miss Savannah said, try a new author, somebody new. And you know what, too, Savannah? I'm finding out that there's some great writers out there, and because of the venues are opening up now where they can really, find their fan base really quickly by, doing what you're doing, I think that's exciting. And I think social media is really taking it to another level. So I'm happy for you guys, and I want to, I definitely want to make sure we stay in connection, and let me know, when you come up here to the Maryland area, okay?
I sure will. Thank you. I sure will.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, my name is Jerry-Royce, and that's positivepower21.org. We appreciate you coming out. Have a good evening. Thank you. Thank you for tuning in to the Positive Power 21 Network. 1921 would like to thank you all for tuning in, and please spread the word and tell a friend. This is Jerry-Royce at Positive Power 21, where we get our positive on.